Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is In It for the Spooks, and tonight I will be telling you about the tragic end of Jaxon Hunter, the boy who was stomped to death. As you can see, some things are different from the last video. Probably the most glaringly obvious is my hair. I got it cut. And I also got a new wax warmer. Yay. So I actually like this one. I think it's a lot. One, the light is whiter than the other one, but that's probably because the other one had like pink stuff on it. And two, because it's just like brighter overall, but I guess that might just be the structure of it. Now that that's all out of the way, let's get into tonight's case. Located in the U.S. state of Wisconsin in Chippewa County, we find the small town of Tilden. Located along Highway 53, the town of Tilden is located in the southwestern region of Chippewa County, where it borders its neighboring city of Chippewa Falls to the southeast. The town itself roughly forms a 6-mile square. Tilden was first surveyed in the fall of 1848 by crew working for the U.S. government. The town was formed from Eagle Point from 1882, and for Samuel J. Tilden, who was a popular candidate for U.S. President in 1876. Tilden lost to Rutherford Hughes, despite winning the popular vote. With an estimated 1,510 residents, Tilden is home to the unincorporated community of Tilden, which is a region not governed by a municipal corporation, or simply put, the local government. Tilden is tradition, and tradition is agriculture, says it all really. Also located in Tilden is Amber's Pals and Playmates Daycare, and it would be here where this tragedy occurred. At the end of August 2018, an unnamed 10-year-old girl was placed in Amber Sweeney's care for a respite stay, aka a cooling off period between parents and children. Amber and her husband Dan run the daycare and are foster parents. The 10-year-old at the time was troubled and came from a neglectful household. Her parents were drug addicts, and on top of being neglected, she was abused too. In September 2017, a report was made to the Chippewa County Department of Human Services. After investigation, she and her brothers were placed in foster care. The girl also had behavioral issues and would often throw tantrums or even run away. After her initial placement in foster care, the girl was returned to her home in April 2018. She would later be sexually assaulted by a neighbor's child. This caused a toll on her mental health, which in turn caused the girl to harm herself. The girl was refused to be committed after her mother took her to the hospital for treatment. Even after what he did, her assaulter still harassed her, so she ended up beating the shit out of him. After this incident, the county placed her in Amber Sweeney's care. During the girl's brief stay, Amber didn't notice any concerning behavior and even called the child sweet. After bruises showed up on her arm, she was taken out of her home for safety. Her father claimed they were from restraining her from running away, but think of it what you will, I guess. Personally, I'm not buying it. She was then taken back into the Sweeney's care, even though she wanted to go somewhere else with less children. The little girl began to attend counseling and reported that she didn't feel suicidal nor homicidal. Sometime in 2018, Stephanie Hunter enrolled her infant son, Jaxon Hunter, who was born on April 6, 2018, into the daycare. Stephanie's older son had previously been enrolled, and she knew that Amber and Dan were foster parents. She also met the little girl, and when Jaxon was at the daycare, she would often play with him and even hold him in her arms. On October 30th, 2018, the little girl was alone with Jaxon in the Sweeney home. Jaxon, sound asleep in his crib, and Amber, with the 5 other children in her care, were outside blowing leaves. From her position, Amber couldn't see or hear Jaxon. The little girl later reported that she had heard Jaxon crying and had picked him up from his crib in an attempt to hold him. Jaxon would then slip out of her hands, hit his head on a nearby stool, and then land on the floor, crying even louder. Panicked and scared of getting in trouble, the little girl stomped on his head to stop his crying. She placed him back in the crib, covered it up, and said she was sorry. Upon finding Jaxon's body, Amber immediately called 911.
He's having a hard time breathing and his head is swelling.
Because of the extent of his injuries, Jaxon would be airlifted to a hospital in St. Paul, where 2 days later, on November 1st, he would pass away. Following her arrest, the little girl was held at a juvenile detention center for 2 months, before being placed in an adult unit at the Winnebago Mental Health Institute in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, with a $50,000 bail.
Following her arrest, the girl was held at this juvenile detention facility for about 2 months.
This is the multi-purpose room.
We were given a look inside to see what life was like for her. This is a typical cell in this facility. You could see bars on the windows here, a mattress that's only 2 inches thick, a desk for the kids, and a toilet. Each child gets at least 1 hour of exercise a day, says director Rob Fadness. Not a typical gym here, 1 basketball hoop.
1 basketball hoop.
Right.
There's no windows.
Right.
There's not really anything here except the 4 walls. But it serves the purpose.
The girl is now being held in the adult unit at Winnebago Mental Health Institute, 4 hours from home.
The little girl was charged as an adult for first-degree homicide with intent, which is a felony. The girl's attorneys tried to get the case dismissed, arguing that due to her age, her brain wasn't fully developed, and that she failed to meet the requirements for first-degree homicide, primarily arguing that the charge required her to show disregard for human life, which they claimed she did not show. Defense attorney Michael Stewart claimed she only stomped on the baby's head once, not repeatedly, showing that she wasn't trying to kill the baby and showed some regard for his life. However, the autopsy revealed there were 7 distinct impacts to his head, suggesting his head had been stomped on several times. Needlessly to say, Dunn County Judge James Peterson rejected the motion to dismiss. The girl was eventually ruled unfit to stand trial, and if she later understands the circumstances that she finds herself in, officials say the case will resume. Until then, however, the girl will reside in the mental hospital. Nate Lydell, Jaxon's father, and mother, Stephanie Hunter, filed a lawsuit against the Chippewa County Department of Human Services and Director Tim Iksar, along with foster care coordinator Serena Schultz, for placing the girl in the home, claiming they didn't warn them of the girl being a dangerous actor and a threat to vulnerable children. The case would later be thrown out. Since Jaxon's death, Nate Lydell has been very vocal, saying things like she may not have gone in with the purpose of murdering him, but she had the ability to prevent irreparable damage and didn't. And, as most parents probably would, I still hope for the maximum sentence allowed. Whether it be served in jail or prison, a more clinical setting, or a combination of both, there needs to be a lengthy sentence.
This heartbroken father says he can't forgive the 10-year-old girl now accused of stomping on his baby's head.
As opposed to seeing it as a 10-year-old girl, I seen it as the person who killed my son. And she, in my opinion, deserved to be in shackles or handcuffs. She's a criminal.
Nate Lydell is speaking out for the first time since the death of his 6-month-old son, Jaxon. Seen here in new video just released by the family.
It really hit hard.
The disturbing sight of a 10-year-old in court charged with first-degree murder shocked the nation. Her parents tried to comfort their weeping child. The grieving dad says he sat in that courtroom hoping she would see him and understand what she had done.
It was a split second, and then she buried her head back into her dad's shoulder.
The girl is said to suffer from severe emotional problems. She was living with foster parents who run a daycare center outside Eau Claire, Wisconsin, where baby Jaxon was enrolled. The girl told police she was holding Jaxon when he fell out of her arms and hit his head. Then she panicked and stomped on the baby to stop his crying. An imprint of her shoe was found on Jaxon's head.
Jaxon's mother and Nate broke up during the pregnancy, and the court only allowed Lydell to see his son for 8 hours a week, meaning that he didn't get to see Jaxon a whole bunch. He describes Jaxon as a happy, smiley, blue-eyed baby, and fondly recalls feeding his son a bottle while watching him fall asleep, hold him in his arms, and watching him enjoy one of his favorite activities, bouncing in his jumper. I remember watching him while I would make dinner, and he would have that thing just rocking. Jaxon's father created Win for Jax, a nonprofit in honor of Jaxon, to benefit child victims of crime, either by memorials and monuments, providing sporting equipment and sponsoring league fees, or other simple gifts. The name for the organization was inspired by the family's tradition of watching the Minnesota Vikings play every Sunday. After Jaxon's death, one of Nate's friends posted on Facebook, "Win for Jax," and the name stuck. The phrase has become a catch-all for all good things, and Win for Jax represents a win for child victims. The little girl's mother was also vocal with an interview on Inside Edition.
That it was done in any type of intentional way.
Do you remember anything she said to you?
That it was an accident. And you know what? I believe my daughter.
The disturbing video of the 10-year-old little girl being led into court sobbing shocked everyone. Do you remember this moment here in court?
I do. It was one of the saddest days that I've ever had to go through.
The mother claims that the girl's brothers are devastated by the arrest and terribly miss their sister. The mother tells her sons that their sister's situation is temporary when they ask when she's coming home.
Abby. The Wisconsin child charged with killing a baby at a daycare center was once just a playful little girl. The girl's mother says her daughter's arrest has devastated the whole family, including her 2 younger sons, who want their sister home.
They miss snuggles and playing Fortnite and coloring and making slime and going to church.
What do you tell them?
It's temporary.
Today in this video, they're gonna be playing hide and seek.
I have countless nights where I have 2 little boys in my bed reminiscing and talking about her and how they miss her and they want her to come home.
The defendant's name is not being released because of her age.
She believes that her daughter has been painted as a monster and describes her daughter as being beautiful, intelligent, and smart. She also said, "At 10, your brain can't process half the stuff that me or you or anybody else can."
Do you think she's been painted as a monster?
Yes, I do.
Is she?
No, she's not. She is beautiful, intelligent, smart, loves to sing, loves to play.
What's up, guys? Today's my first YouTube video.
She was 10 at the time the incident occurred in October 2018. Prosecutors say she was attending a daycare facility when she dropped a 6-month-old baby who began to cry. They allege the panicked girl stomped on his head to keep him quiet. The injuries would prove to be fatal.
What did you tell your other children about what happened?
I didn't. Social media did. Kids at school did.
This mother says her daughter didn't intentionally hurt the child and said she believes it was an accident. The girl is being held in the adult unit at a mental health facility 4 hours from home. She's been declared not competent to stand trial.
The mother also makes comments about her child not having a playground to play on and living with women 40 years and older. She also said that this is the doctor's fault for not letting her daughter be committed, since if she was, the girl wouldn't have been at the home to begin with. Which I find ironic, since she never would have been placed in foster care or at that home in the first place if her parents weren't neglectful, abusive dirtbags.
I denied my daughter because she wasn't 12 years old.
She was trying to kill herself.
She had suicidal indentations, yes.
And you couldn't get her help.
I could not. They sent her home because apparently suicide had an age limit.
As a last resort, the girl's parents say they placed her in a county-licensed program at this daycare center for 3 days a week, the same place where the baby lost his life. If she did get help, do you think that this wouldn't have happened?
She wouldn't have never been there. It wouldn't have happened. She's the youngest person there. She's 11 years old with women 40 years old and over.
What does she eat?
She had peanut butter and jelly tonight.
For dinner?
For dinner.
Does she get education there, do you know?
She does.
Do you know if there's a playground there for her?
There's not.
So she doesn't get playtime?
She gets to go outside.
Is she scared?
Definitely. She wants to go home.
Artwork and handwritten letters come regularly in the mail.
I miss you guys so much.
How often do you get these letters?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day.
This mom says she has compassion for baby Jaxon's family, but just wants her daughter back home.
It's a sad story all the way around, and not just one family suffering, but there's two.
No matter what the reason or the little girl's age, her actions on that fateful day resulted in the loss of an adorable little boy who had his whole life ahead of him. The light that baby Jaxon brought to this world and to the people around him has been squashed. Jaxon's memory will never be forgotten, and his legacy will forever live on with his parents and all the good Winford Jax carries on. Rest in peace, little dude. And that was tonight's case, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a comment down below. Tell me your thoughts on the case, and feel free to drop some suggestions. And hey, leave a like and subscribe while you're at it. My name is In It for the Spooks, and don't forget to stay spooky.